Welcome back, everyone, to another in-depth look at the unfolding drama surrounding President Trump and his steadfast backing of key figures in his inner circle, especially those female appointees who draw heavy fire but somehow stay put no matter what. Take Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, the one who's become synonymous with tough immigration crackdowns. The pattern here is clear and troubling. A president who seems drawn to loyalty over results, even as scandals pile up. This whole dynamic begs bigger questions about leadership standards, the clash between enforcement policies and core American values like religious freedom, community trust, and equal treatment under the law. How far will this go before real change happens? We'll break down the fresh details coming up, but let's start by revisiting Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker's sharp words following the fallout in Minnesota. He laid it out straight without pulling punches. The governor made it clear Secretary Noem has to be removed from her post. He slammed the Department of Homeland Security for rushing into a barrage of false claims and spin to cover their tracks after what went down. Pritzker pointed out there was no thorough probe into the facts and not a shred of genuine sorrow or outreach to the grieving family of the woman who died at the hands of agents. Right away, DHS officials headed to supportive networks and fed them a story full of holes. He's pored over detailed breakdowns of the video evidence frame after frame and described it as utterly shocking, enough to rally folks to advocate for fairness in a measured, non-violent way. His firm stance remains, it's time for Secretary Noem to exit stage left. When pressed on this, President Trump doubled down, boasting about the caliber of his selections. He praised her work ethic on the spot, affirming she's excelling in the role and that the nation's borders are more secure now than at any point in our past. The conversation quickly turned to the heavy hitter, impeachment proceedings. Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries in the House didn't dodge the question when reporters cornered him on whether he'd back moves to oust Secretary Noem via that route. He noted that the door isn't shut on any options, but the caucus plans to huddle and hash it out tomorrow. He's not rushing to preempt those internal talks. That said, his take is unambiguous. Secretary Noem is woefully unprepared for the demands of the job, treats it with a lack of proper focus, and represents a genuine threat to public safety. In his estimation, she's an outright failure and a stain on the department. During the president's Super Bowl watch party amid the festivities, he fielded a direct query about Secretary Noem in a sit-down chat. Surprisingly, he skipped any commentary on the big game highlights like Bad Bunny's performance, but he was quick to voice his admiration for her and DHS efforts. When asked point blank if he'd consider stripping her of responsibilities, he shot it down flat. Why on earth would he? He touted the unprecedented strength of border controls as proof positive of her success. Given the cascade of mishaps plaguing Homeland Security under this setup, paired with Trump's personal allegiance to her, it's hard not to ask, just how catastrophic does a situation need to get before accountability kicks in, especially if favoritism is the shield? This latest revelation might finally tip the scales, particularly with allegations of discriminatory practices targeting religious figures without any regard for due process or basic rights. Secretary Noem's DHS is now under fire for halting Catholic clergy in Chicago and insisting they document their citizenship, judged entirely by their skin tone. Leading the charge on this is Cardinal Blas Kupich, head of Chicago's archdiocese, who went public with these claims. Speaking first in a mid-January segment on a Chicago PBS channel, then reiterated in a February interview with a prominent Spanish daily's U.S. version, he detailed troubling encounters. Priests with darker complexions have been singled out, pulled over, and compelled to furnish citizenship proof on the spot. He labeled it a betrayal of what America stands for. As he put it, this isn't the kind of country where folks should be compelled to tote around proof of identity at all times just to navigate daily life without fear. Expanding on the impact, the cardinal highlighted the chilling effect rippling through neighborhoods. It's not limited to newcomers. Locals of all backgrounds sense an atmosphere of intimidation from these sweeping raids and stops. He tied it to escalating anger stemming from tragedies in Minneapolis, plus the mounting tensions in his own city. This escalation aligns with the administration's aggressive push on immigration in Chicago, rolled out despite falling crime stats that predated the surge in operations. The Windy City has endured wave after wave of rallies, police interventions, and heated standoffs. A stark example. During one demonstration, an ICE agent perched on a building fired a pepper round that hit a Presbyterian minister squarely in the head. Specialists tracking these developments warn that the overreach extends past mere ID checks. Countless people flash legitimate paperwork only to be detained anyway for extra scrutiny like fingerprint collection or facial recognition scans. That's the reality unfolding in one of the nation's key Catholic hubs, smack in Chicago, possibly amplified by the ongoing friction with figures like Governor Pritzker from earlier. We're at a point where ordained ministers in full garb are accosted and grilled over their status based on looks alone. No regrets offered, no standard protocols followed, and apparently no second thoughts from leadership. Still, the tide is turning with mounting backlash. Recent surveys reveal dramatic swings in public sentiment, drops of 30, 35, even 19 to 22 percentage points in support for these approaches within a single year. Beyond polls, real economic pain hits home for millions, from stagnant wages to rising expenses right in their backyards. When religious leaders, symbols of peace and service, are disrespected this way, it exposes a profound breakdown in decency and order.